Hi, it's O.T. Carlson here. Hard to believe it's been nearly 30 years since we lost Chris Farley. Of course, one of the loudest, most animated comedians to have ever lived. But it is good to see that some of his stuff is actually getting remembered and reissued. And Kino Lorber has certainly jumped on the Chris Farley bandwagon with the reissue of this film, Black Sheep, which originally came out in 1996. This 4K disc was provided to me by Kino Lorber for review. However, that will have no bearing on my review. So I'm going to unbox this release and share my opinions. Nice cover art there with Chris Farley and co-star David Spade. Spine text. Back cover of the package. Under the slipcover, the art is pretty much the same. And we get the film in 4K Ultra High Def and also on a Blu-ray disc. Brief disclaimer as well, any images you see in this review are sourced from the Blu-ray disc, not the 4K disc, so they do not fully represent the quality of this release. Brand new HDR Dolby Vision Master from a 4K scan of the 35mm original camera negative. Meet Mike Donnelly. He's one lovable, hilarious accident waiting to happen. Dedicated to helping his big brother Al win the race for Washington State governor, he turns every opportunity for votes into an embarrassing disaster. Campaign aide and super slacker Steve Dodds volunteers to babysit Mike. Big mistake. When Mike discovers that the incumbent governor is a crook, he dives headfirst into a whole new level of well-intended destruction. Chris Farley and David Spade, the stars of Tommy Boy, once again show why they were the reigning comedy duo of the 90s. Directed by Penelope Spheris and co-starring Gary Busey, Black Sheep is a raucous crowd pleaser bubbling over with maximum energy, featuring an electrifying performance by super Seattle band Mudhoney. Again, it's been nearly 30 years since Chris Farley passed away. The guy's brand of humor is certainly not for everybody, and when Black Sheep came out back in the day, it certainly did not get the most positive of reviews. I remember even reading something online that said this is one of the very few movies that famed film critic Gene Siskel even walked out on. That said, though, I certainly like going back and looking at these 90s comedies that may have eluded me the first time around. This actually was my first time watching Black Sheep. And again, Chris Farley's brand of comedy is not for everyone, and a little bit of him can go a long way. But the movie does clock in at just under 90 minutes, so it gives you just the right amount of the guy. Chris Farley, of course, is known for being very loud and very physical in his comedy, but here you have him playing a well-meaning slacker who wants nothing more than to help his brother. Chris Farley's character in this film works at a recreation center and actually strikes up a friendship with a young man, and it's pretty clear that he's actually not a bad guy, and he's doing everything he can to help his brother get elected governor, his brother being portrayed by Tim Matheson of Animal House fame, and the two certainly have a love-hate relationship, and it is nice seeing the chemistry between these two. Clearly, one doesn't always agree with the other, but you can also tell that these two do love and care about each other. And the other half of the central cast is portrayed by David Spade, a man who wants nothing more than to be a part of the governor's staff when he finally does get elected. David Spade, of course, kind of falls into that same category as Chris Farley. You either love the guy or hate the guy. And there's a lot of stuff with David Spade I've certainly enjoyed, including the film Joe Dirt, which came out a few years later. David Spade, interestingly, was actually one of the very few guest stars to ever appear on the animated sitcom Beavis and Butthead, another personal favorite of mine. And throughout the movie, we get all kinds of shenanigans going from urban settings to rural settings, everything going horribly wrong when our character played by Chris Farley is trying to get people to vote for his brother. We even get a pretty memorable scene in a Rock the Vote MTV arena in which he gets a chance to speak in front of an audience and, of course, flubs it in tremendous fashion. And we do get that great performance from the legendary Seattle band Mudhoney. I mean, the movie does have a plot, but the plot is really just an excuse to put Chris Farley and David Spade in the most ridiculous situations imaginable. And for the most part, these actually are quite funny. I mean, highbrow humor this is not, but these two were certainly the kings of slapstick in their day, and I'd be lying if I said this film didn't make me laugh despite its obvious shortcomings. The movie even has a supporting part from Gary Busey portraying his usual neurotic, demented self, in this particular film playing a shell-shocked war veteran of sorts who crosses past our hero, and of course all hell breaks loose in the process. Black Sheep is what it is. If you don't like Chris Farley, this movie's certainly not going to change your mind, But if you want to go back in time and pay tribute to one of the great comic actors of our time, who sadly has been gone for so long now, you certainly can't go wrong with this release from Kino Lorber. I'm happy to say Black Sheep actually does look very good in 4K. Luckily, this is a movie that has always looked fairly good on home video, and the extra little push from the HDR certainly helps here, giving us some more vibrant colors. There are some scenes in very bright places, and there's some scenes in very dark places, and the combination of things like deeper, darker black levels and shadow detail, combined with brighter, more vibrant colors, especially around Washington State, as we see in the film, really comes together nicely. It is a nice looking disc, and I am pleasantly surprised by how good this one looks. Sadly, the supplement package is a little small. We just get a commentary track from Penelope Spheris and a theatrical trailer. There's also some theatrical trailers for other related films as well. So, well, the supplement package is a little light, the picture quality is great, and the film is as funny as ever. I would have to put this one more under guilty pleasures than cinematic masterpieces, but that doesn't mean I didn't laugh while I was watching this one. How about you? Are you a fan of Chris Farley? Or is he someone you're not the biggest fan of? What's your opinion of Black Sheep? What's your favorite Chris Farley film? Comment down below and let me know what you think. Also, remember to subscribe to this channel for more content. I'm always posting new videos, and make sure you give this one a like if you found it helpful. I'm Taylor T. Carlson. I'll see you next time.